Light. Are we live?
Good afternoon. I am Tyler Holland. That's
What's
Tyler
up?
Twombly and Lane Daltrey, and we
We're
are
back.
live. We are live, and this is indeed the extravagantly reoccurring Power Half Hour Smells Like Thursday edition.
That's
It's
right.
been too
It's
long.
only 30 minutes.
It's
True
been
believers.
2 weeks long.
It has indeed. It is exciting to be back. We've got a great show for you today. Just a couple of announcements on the front end. First of all, if you weren't with us last night, be sure to check out the message from last night. It has a lot to do, obviously, with the Word of God and with what's going on in the world today. You can find that on this very YouTube channel right here. And feel free to always know that we're here to talk to you about whatever you want to talk about, because we know that just so much is crazy in the world right now, but Jesus is in control of all of it. So also, we have for seniors. If you haven't signed up already, hurry up and sign up for the Zoom Senior Send Party on Sunday night. Sunday night at 5 p.m. We're going to have a special Zoom party / service / hangout with y'all and your families. So make sure you sign up for that. It's going to be really cool. And you're going to get to talk to Tyler Clift, who is another awesome Tyler. So get excited for that. And then be sure to join us on Sunday mornings at 9:30. Actually, this Sunday morning, Tyler, what are all the times?
8 o'clock, 9:30, and 11.
You wake up early, you want church? You got it. You want church the normal time? No problem. You're like, hey, I want to sleep a little late today. I want church at 11 p.m. Central Time. Guess what?
Oh, church.
For you, we got church. Shazam. So
Right.
it's going to be awesome.
Make
church
sure you
on demand.
reserve your spot.
Dude, make sure you reserve your spot. That's actually a for real thing. And that's obviously only if you're going to church. You are actually able to go to church, but because of the coronavirus stipulations, making sure everybody stays safe, there's only a certain amount of people allowed in at a time. So make sure you reserve your spots, and you could seek out the video on Facebook that we put out that shows you some of the rules if you would like to do so. So but hey, let's get into it today. We've got all sorts of great stuff going on today. So let's see here. We're going to start with show and tell. Now,
Boom.
I'm not going to lie to you. Before I remembered that my baby, whose name is Sky, and she's precious, she's little bitty, 5 pounds, 7 ounces when she was born, tiny little baby. She's a couple of weeks, 2 weeks and something today. And I was going to show all of you her today, but unfortunately, it just turns out that she has a doctor's appointment today. Babies have to go to the doctor to get shots and all that fun stuff. So they said the baby are gone. You're probably going to see me walking around because I'm here with my 2 boys. And
So sorry.
Yep, I hear
Amy
him.
Johnson.
Oh, look, there's one right there. Say, hey, Bear.
Hey, Bear.
Say, hey.
Bear's hanging out.
There's my show and tell right there. Show and tell is Bear for me. And there is my toy shelf. The children have destroyed it right now, but it
Action
has a lot of cool
figures.
stuff for kids and for me.
Mostly kids.
So Bear is trying to get up here with me right now, so I'll let him do that for just a little bit. But I think Lane has something he's going to show us today.
I do. So a little bit of backstory. Yesterday, I got asked to come help move some boxes and some furniture for an older family in our church. And I said, absolutely. Made a little bit of money. And then I was like, there's a Lego set at Walmart that I've been looking at for a little while. So perfect time for me to go get it. So I got it yesterday, built it this morning, and it's awesome. I'll start off with the main build. It's an Avengers helicopter. It's orange and blue. It's awesome. It's like
put together.
Say again.
Did it
I
come
wish
put together?
it did not. I built it. It took about 2 hours to build all of it. Different pieces. It's got these folding collapsible wings. Got a little space under here for something I'll show you in a second. It's pretty cool. Some characters we've got. We've got the Quantum Realm suit Black Widow.
Oh,
Very interesting. Very cool.
may she rest in peace. Too soon?
Too soon. We've got the Quantum Realm suit Hulk with Stark gauntlets and Infinity Stones. Hulk, love it. Hulk.
That's awesome.
Love it. And then
Peter
my
wants to know how
favorite.
big the set is.
If you know how big my face is, it's about the size of my face. So is that a good comparison?
Face for scale.
It's about It's about as big as the average sized human head. And then, last but not least, my favorite, pretty much the only reason I bought this set, is you get Pepper Potts Purple Rescue Iron Man armor. I love it. It's great. It's wonderful.
That's
Good
awesome.
times. It's got some jetpack stuff. That's my show and tell.
Tyler,
Nice.
you got anything?
Yeah. Today I'm going to reveal to everyone that I don't really have a beard. It's fake. Oh,
That would be so
gotcha,
awesome.
didn't I? If it just unclipped. I've got this little trophy. It's a Dundee Award. I'll not explain it further.
Ah.
I got it for being friends. Came in the mail from Daisha and Tyler. It's pretty cool. It's got this guy with a little briefcase. Looks like he does his job well. He
looks like it.
is fake gold
Is it plastic?
with a
Okay, yeah.
with a plastic coating.
I thought it
Very
was
nice.
great.
Classy.
Soda.
Classy.
I think the most valuable part actually is the stand. It looks to be some sort of granite, approximately a 2x2. It's really nice.
2x2.
Here he is.
Possibly
Well-
granite.
His name is Kevin. That is what I named him.
Well, that is delightful. I think it's a natural place, since it's your segment today, to talk about some deserts or desserts or something. So, Tyler, what's going on with the Tyler Twombly segment?
Wait, you don't have anything to show and tell?
Yeah, I did. My,
was it
my
Bear? He
child.
He showed
That was
his,
my
he
child.
showed his children.
I have a 2-year-old.
I guess Andy did the action figure wall.
Oh yeah.
Well,
See?
with
There.
that said,
Look, here's a tent too. There you go.
ooh, big fan of that tent. Real nice. It can almost hold up a fully grown adult, almost.
Almost.
Yeah. So today I wanted to talk about desserts on a desert island.
Mhm.
When Holland texted me what the idea for the show was today, he said top 3 desert island things, and for some reason I read desserts on a desert island. So today we're going to
That's
talk
right.
about our 3 favorite desserts that we would take on a desert island if we only could eat those 3 desserts. Very
Quickly, because I'll be right back. But Reese's Pieces, sprinkles, rainbow sprinkles,
What?
and
Hold on.
chocolate sheet cake.
You mean Jimmy's?
What are Jimmy's?
Sprinkles, I believe.
I'm not from the north. I don't know.
Is that a main thing?
It is a Yankee. It's a Yankee thing. I would not say. Well, maybe it's a New England thing. Logan Ox said beans. I think those are sprinkles
Beans.
too.
Well, no, when you were talking about Kevin, I said the secret is to undercook the beans.
Oh, that's right. Since he
Yes.
spills the.
But anyway,
When
tell
Tyler
me
comes
one
back,
of your
we need
desserts.
to ask him about this because wait, is he saying he would just like that's what he does is just eat sprinkles? They're flavorless. They're just colored sugar.
I've seen him eat some strange candy like that, so I wouldn't doubt it.
All right. Well, I'll do my 3. You do your 3. You know, we'll keep going back
Okay.
and forth like that. I'm gonna say my 3 is first Oreos and whole milk. Oreos and whole milk.
Good snack.
I will say I've been having some whole milk lactate recently, and somehow it's sweeter than regular whole milk. So I'll actually say good for stomach health. I will say Oreos and whole milk, but the lactose-free kind.
I see.
What do you
Okay.
got?
Yeah, I see some people in the comments. Absolutely. Tell us what you think in the comments. What are your 3 favorites on a desert island? Okay, so like here's a better question. Do I have a refrigerator on this island, or like how does this work?
I think it goes without saying that you obviously have at least a mini refrigerator.
Okay, I see. Okay.
If not
okay.
2 full-size refrigerators.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so desserts. Number 3, I'm gonna say any variety of like a cola float, so like a root beer float or a Coke float or a Dr. Pepper float. I think that's a good one.
That is pretty good. What is
Yeah.
your preferred float? Do you have one?
Okay, so I know we were talking about sodas a while ago. You're a big fan of the Dr. Pepper, or yeah, Dr. Pepper cream soda.
100%.
And then I was talking about the Dr. Pepper cherry vanilla.
Really?
So cherry vanilla Dr. Pepper with vanilla ice cream is bomb diggity.
Oh my. That's
It's
a lot
great.
of flavoring.
Yeah.
It sounds good though.
Good. It's very good.
All right, well, I'll go with my number 2. I mentioned it last week. I will mention it again. The Sea Dog biscuit, a staple of Maine minor league baseball. The
That's
Sea
right.
Dog biscuit is 2 palm-sized cookies. My palm, obviously, palm, face for scale, about the size of my forehead. That's bigger than I advertised. 2 palm-sized cookies with vanilla ice cream in the middle.
Yeah.
They're obviously chocolate chip. It is incredible. It invokes nostalgia.
What about M&M cookies?
You know, I'll accept it. But typically a Sea Dog biscuit
Typically
is
chocolate chip.
exclusively chocolate chip with vanilla ice cream. Now that
Fair,
being said, I have
fair,
done
classic.
0 research on the different kinds of Sea Dog biscuits that they have made. I'm assuming it's only chocolate chip. Big fan.
Put some Jimmys around the edges.
Sure. Not traditional, but sure, yeah. Nightwave said it's called the Chip Witch. You would be wrong. There, that's all. You're just wrong.
Okay.
Lane?
Is this my number 2?
Yeah.
Okay, so my number 2 is I forgot what it's called. Maybe you can help me out, but I can describe it to you. It's like one of those like layered
cheesecake.
You know what? I do love cannoli.
Cannolis are really good. I mean, we can have an honorable mention.
So yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, Jess mentioned tiramisu is really good, but I think I'm gonna go with number 2 is cannoli. Cannoli is.
What was the one
fantastic.
you were trying to say?
I think it might be tiramisu because it's like the layered pudding and graham cracker whipped cream
Jess is
stuff.
right. You definitely described a tiramisu,
Okay,
which is also good. Amy Johnson said coffee cake.
Coffee cake's good.
Yeah, huge fan of coffee cake. Big fan.
Cheesecake cannoli.
Ooh,
that's right.
Why not both cheesecake and cannoli? It's a great question. All right, my number 1 is actually we had this at our wedding, which May 31st was when me and Brittany's wedding was.
Congratulations!
In 2015,
Happy anniversary.
not recently. Just to clear that up. And we had
your anniversary was only in 2015.
Sure. Pumpkin pie. That was what we had at one of the things that we had at our wedding.
Is that your nickname for each other too? Hey, look, my pumpkin pie.
I'm a huge pie guy. Love pumpkin pie. It's my favorite pie by far. I would eat it any time of the year. Example,
that's right.
My wedding day, which was not during appropriate pumpkin pie times. You could have it with whipped cream. You could have it without whipped cream. You could have it
whipped
cold,
cream?
Preferably cold. Or you could have it warm.
Warm. Why are you saying it that way? Why?
So Lane, what is your number 1?
Okay, my number 1.
Better be me.
Was again mentioned by my roommate off screen. It is a childhood favorite. You might have gotten this as a snack at a VBS or some other type of church event. You get a cup of vanilla pudding. You crumble up some Oreos in there, and you put a gummy worm or 2 in there. It's called dirt pudding. Best thing ever.
That's solid. That's solid.
Good stuff.
I wish you had said you have your vanilla pudding. You pick up some dirt and put it in the pudding, and then you add a worm, and it's called dirt pudding. And I was gonna be like, "That's just dirt, dude." Like I hate
I thought you were gonna say, you know what you get at VBS? They're square, they're salty, they're saltine crackers. That's my number 1 dessert. I was gonna be really happy.
My number 1 dessert. My number 1 dessert is
VBS
12.
that they give you only saltine crackers.
My number 1 dessert is 12 Cheez-Its on a napkin. That's it.
That's it right there. Living the dream. Let us know in the
That's
comment
good.
section. I see beans from Amy Johnson. VBS apparently with Amy means beans. And one
Wait, I
second,
have a question.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell my boys to not fight each other.
Go ahead.
I just want to know if you just eat sprinkles as a dessert. Like
Just straight
Holland.
up.
Holland, do you eat? That's what you do. Like
Before I had diverticulitis, I did. But now that I have a stomach disease, I can't really do that.
wait, hold on. I'm still confused. So let's just say you had a nice dinner.
Yeah.
I was gonna say a chicken salad, but you don't eat salad. It's a nice ham. I don't know, whatever. You had ham. You're feeling great. You're ready. You know what? I'm gonna get some dessert, and all there is a cup of sprinkles.
That's absolutely what I did. I'm trying right now because my son is
sprinkles.
to make sure
What
that I
was your
don't show
one?
my naked child on the video. So
Wait, so Reese's Pieces, rainbow sprinkles. What was the other one?
Reese's Pieces. Reese's Pieces.
Reese's Pieces.
Reese's Pieces, because Reese is
chocolate
one
sheet
that's
cake.
made the pieces.
Yeah, it's his
chocolate sheet cake.
pieces. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Reese's Pieces. Yeah.
I think he said chocolate sheet cake at some point.
Congratulations. This is the YouTube stream called Parenting. This is what happens when you have two children at home out of your four. All right, so let's move on. I think that's the whole thing for the desserts, right?
Yeah,
I believe so.
I just couldn't believe that you just spoon feed yourself sprinkles, but it's fine.
I don't know that I would call it that because I don't use a spoon. Just straight up shug it. So let's say most watched movies ever with Lane. Lane, take it away.
That's right. So, man, I've seen a lot of good movies in my day. Some of my favorite movies I've only seen a handful of times, but there are those select few movies that I have seen many, many, many times. So I've got a couple. So let's start with I think Holland's on the move. So I'm going to start with Twombly. What you got? We'll do three.
For most watched movies ever?
Yeah.
Like the movies I've watched most ever?
Yeah, the movies you have watched the most.
No,
not necessarily favorite, but watched the most.
Been watched the most.
Well, obviously, Marvel's Endgame is the most watched movie ever.
Really?
Obviously.
Okay.
Yeah.
You must watch it every day.
My number, no. I mean for all people, not for me. Although I will say I'll put that as my number 3, which maybe is.
Am I misunderstanding the category?
No, I think it's your category. You're doing great. I'm misunderstanding the category. My number 3 is Marvel's Avengers Endgame. I think I watched it 3 times in 3 days.
Nice.
Which, the fact that I've watched a movie 3 times as my top 3 most watched movies is probably an indicator of how many movies I watch. But anyways.
My number 3 most watched movie of all time is probably Frozen, because I have children. So
yeah. Okay, my number 3, I think, like having it, like just watching it on TV, like when it's on TV all the time, and just like watching it on repeat as a child. I'm gonna go with Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Classic, love it. Grew up on that one.
Solid,
good one. My number 2. It's a tough one. I have not really counted how many times I've watched movies. I think I'm gonna say a Goofy movie. That's what I'm gonna say. I probably have watched that one pretty close to like a lot.
That's a
at least
really
several times.
That's actually, if you count just watching clips, then that's definitely in my top 3 as well.
I think of the songs all the time.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this. I think Hercules would be up there too. I always liked Hercules.
Good one.
I think. Anyways,
I think Aladdin is my number 2. That came out when I was in elementary, and I never stopped loving it. Still love it. I always watch it when it's on, at least part of it. So I think Aladdin. Not the live action one from the 90s, obviously. So.
Right.
Oh, of course. Sure.
Yeah.
my number two is going to be The Lion King, um, the original classic,
Hmm.
not
Yeah.
the new live action one.
Sure.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, just like pop that sucker in, get some popcorn, tear it up.
That's awesome. Some people said Cars. I have not watched Cars that many times, although I will say
I've
I have
seen it a
watched it
lot,
a few times.
but
It's good. I think it's underrated. Tyler, did you
it
say
is.
that the last time we talked about it? Like our top
The,
5 Disney
the
movies or
Cars
something?
is underrated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Cars a lot.
See, I
Specifically,
guess
the first. I like the
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Like for me, I think Cars is appropriately rated. I enjoy Cars, but it's not in like my top five.
Sure. Mine is Mighty Ducks 2. That one was easy.
Ooh, that's your
Yeah, I've
number
watched that
one.
one so many times.
That's awesome.
I just love when they say all ducks fly together. Oh, and there's the scene where they're playing street hockey in like this basketball court in LA, which is
Yeah,
just awesome.
Mm-hmm.
that is
Anyways,
awesome. So I'm gonna cheat, and I'm gonna count
Boo.
Robin Williams collection.
Oh,
I
jeez.
was born in 1985, which means the time that I really started loving movies. I mean, typically you really like remember what you love and everything by 6 or 7 years old is right when he was getting to be like the most popular kids movie guy of all time, whether it was Voices or whether it was Jumanji or Hook or Mrs. Doubtfire or all that kind of stuff. I love
So
all. There
good.
what like he had this run in the 90s of children's movies that are just they formed my sense of humor. So I'm going to say the Robin Williams children's movie collection that involves specifically the Lion, or I'm sorry, not the Lion King, Aladdin, Mrs.
Hook.
Doubtfire, Hook,
Hook is
and
really good.
I'm blanking. I just said it a second ago. There's one, oh, Jumanji. So
Oh yeah, Jumanji's really good.
Yes.
yeah, also not the new Jumanji, the original Jumanji. I think his name was Alan something in it. So, all right,
Yeah.
Lane.
Yeah. So my number one, I mean, if we're talking about children's animated movies, it's up there with, if not the greatest animated children's movie, or like it's definitely in the top three. I mean, the original Toy Story. As a kid, I probably watched that
I wish I
once a
could.
week.
Yeah, I've probably
That's
watched that a
solid.
lot of times.
Watched it all the time. You know, like it'll be on TV. You go babysitting or hang out with kids. The Toy Story's on. It's just there. It's everywhere.
If no one likes superheroes someday, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse will be up there
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
easily.
they're coming out with this sick figure of Peter B. Parker. It's going to be incredible. But he'll be in show and tell in the
Some people have brought up Onward. That's one of the best Disney movies that I've seen in a really long time.
Onward
Agreed.
is going to be a classic. It's so good.
It's so good.
All right. So as y'all know from me running around, my children, I'm watching them downstairs. So I haven't had my computer plugged in. It's at 2%. So sorry, viewing audience. I'm probably going to cut out in a minute, but I believe that our good friend Nightwave Wingman has this hosted as well. So we should be good. But we're going to move straight on right now to Spit and Truth with Tyler Twombly. I'm going to go ahead and exit out so it's not distracting when I cut out. But y'all have a wonderful day. Love you. See you soon. Don't forget to check in on Sunday morning. So Tyler.
All right. Thanks, Tyler.
I'm ready to go. Whoa, that was so epic.
Do it.
It's close.
It's strange.
If y'all have your Bibles, turn to Galatians 4. We're going to talk about Galatians 4 today. Very nice, Lane. Verses 1 through 7. I chose these verses because I think they're really comforting in this hard time, as a reminder that God is here with us. He is watching over us, and He's taking care of us despite all of the things going around in society, between some of the stuff we see on the news and coronavirus, really just any other form of hardship or suffering you're going through. So here we go from verse 1. I mean that the heir, as long as he is a child, is no different from a slave, though he is the owner of everything, but he is under guardians and managers until the date set by his father. In the same way, we also, when we were children, were enslaved to the elementary principles of the world. But when the fullness of time had come, God sent forth his Son, born of a woman, born under the law, to redeem those who were under the law, so that we might receive adoption as sons. And because you are sons, God has sent the Spirit of his Son into our hearts, crying, Abba, Father. So you are no longer a slave, but a son, and if a son, then an heir through God. So Paul writes to the people in Galatians that he that they've been struggling with following the law, and they've been struggling with holding people to too high of a standard. That there's all these old rules that Jews had made at one time to add to what was already there, and people were still requiring non-Jews to live by those laws, even though it wasn't required anymore. And so he's saying that at one time in your life, you were a slave to the things that you desired. That could be your sins, that could be the influence of the world, and that could also be the influence of Satan and all of the different ways he tries to lie to us and provoke us to turning against God. All those things are listed in Ephesians 2 as influences in our life. So we were once slaves to those influences, but when the fullness of time had come, so that means when God chose the right time to insert himself into actual history, into actual life, into reality, that when he chose to do that, he sent forth his son, born of a woman under the law. So Jesus was born under the restrictions of the law, just like we all are. We have a requirement of living up to God's standard. He was born under that as well. Unlike us, Jesus accomplished everything in life without sin, something that none of us are able to do. Romans says, no one has sinned, or no one has not sinned, no, not one. So I think I've butchered that
No one is good.
really well. Yeah, that one. So every person has sinned, every single person. And because of that sin, we look at God's law and we see, oh, we sinned. And so we know that we're condemned, we're judged by God to be guilty. But because of Jesus and his perfect life, and because of his sacrifice on the cross, he took away that sin. So when we put our faith in Jesus, God doesn't look at the list of things that we did wrong. He looks at Jesus, his perfect son. So it says, God did this in our lives through Jesus to redeem those who are under the law, so we might receive adoption as sons. I hope that this encourages every single one of you today, because what Paul is saying is that not only are you not looked at as a guilty sinner anymore, but you're looked at as God's child, as his son. You're looked at as someone who will receive God's eternal blessing. So the emphasis isn't so much as like physical parenthood, but as someone who will receive all the gifts that God can give you. He's not going to hold anything back because he's looking at his son, the true image of himself on earth, because that's what he sees. He will give you every single blessing that he can, not just here on earth, but when we get to heaven, he will not restrict anything good from us. He will give us everything good. And because you are God's son, he has sent the Spirit of our Son onto our hearts, crying, Abba, Father. So for those of you who are going through suffering, who are seeing what's on the news and you're brokenhearted, for those that are going through hard times in your life, for those that are maybe even dealing with the fear of coronavirus, know that during the times that we find it hardest to pray to God, his Spirit is in us crying out for us. That God didn't leave us alone in our suffering. He doesn't leave us with the evil of the world. He is right there by our side, walking through it with us, calling out to God for us, that we're now so in relationship with him. His Spirit is with us, helping us through everything. So he says, you're no longer a slave, but a son. And if a son, then an heir through God. So this finally emphasizes that no matter what we're going through, you are forever a child of God. You are an heir of God. You will receive his kingdom. You will receive his blessings because of putting your faith in Jesus. So no matter what you're going through this week, no matter what you see on TV, no matter how you're afraid or what it is that you're struggling with, know that God has saved you. He has given you his Spirit to be with you and to always cry out to God when you're in need of help. And because of that, No matter what we struggle with in this life, whether we receive blessing now or not, we will always receive that blessing with God in heaven. So I hope that that encourages you all. Lane, do you have anything to add?
Yeah. One thing that I noticed when I was reading this passage, kind of as a overarching thing, is there are a few passages in Scripture, especially in the New Testament, that kind of frame the whole gospel story in one little passage.
Hmm.
I know there's one. I believe it's in Philippians chapter 2,
Uh-huh.
and then this one where like we see at the beginning we see the depravity of man, we see our sinfulness,
Yeah.
and then we see God stepping in, God taking action to save us from our sin, and then thirdly we see um, the the ability for us to give a response to God's action, um, and then the result of that is our salvation. And I think
Yeah.
like even though like in context throughout the book of Galatians, this makes sense within its own letter.
Yeah.
But just as this section, you get an overview of the gospel,
Hmm.
and I
Yeah.
think that's really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, for any of you out there who's going through maybe fear, anxiety because of what's going on in the world around them, please come talk to us. We want to encourage you towards the peace that we have in Jesus. We're so glad we're able to hang out with y'all today. Hope that you can stay classy and be bright.
Just Hunger Games.
Yeah, that's what I did. Copyright Hunger Games.